Yes.
Did you say your name and where you're from?
I said that, but Dave Weigel, Washington Independent. Continuing what Ms. Horton was talking about, what do you see as the threat here? We've seen nationalization, we've seen some threats to guns and things like that. But what other threats do you think are most immediate on the horizon from this administration?
Well, I think what Obama's doing to our money. Where is he getting the money? We've got to run the printing presses and run our country into enormous debt that I don't know that we can ever repay. A lot of us have difficulty dealing with billions, and we just can't even comprehend trillions. And then the takeover of the banks and the industries, I think is extremely ominous. In the back?
Yeah, Joe Mann, St. Louis speaking. Is there anything in particular that you're hoping comes out of this conference? Any sort of feeling, I mean, as far as what people should do as they, I mean, that you hope comes out of it, that people come away with?
Yes, I would say we hope they will be trained in how to discuss these major issues. If you've looked at our program, did they have access to copies of our program? They cover many issues, and we hope that the people who come will be conversant with the issues, able to debate them, talk about them on the internet, on their blogs, on their talk radio, or with their friends. We encourage people to have house meetings, just like Obama's having for his friends, so that they can organize. In other words, I believe in grassroots activity. That's the story of Eagle Forum, the story of what we've been doing, and we just want to have a larger number of people engaged in this grassroots activity.
I could add something to that if I may. Every single speaker, every single workshop, everything you'll attend here is all aimed at one thing, and that is how. We've gotten the tea parties, we've seen the town hall meetings, a lot of people shaking their fist at the television. This is what to do. This is how to take America back, and that's really the focus. Every speaker, every workshop, everything we do here is to train. It's the place to come to find out how to be trained, to be engaged, and to be networked with the people who are on the front lines of the cultural war.
Quick question, I apologize for missing the beginning, but from the last speaker, are you saying that right now the U.S. is headed the way of Nazi Germany? I mean, kind of how serious of a threat is it, do you think?
I would talk to Kitty. That answer comes from someone who's been there.
Kitty has pointed out the parallels between the slow incremental Hitler takeover of Austria and some of the things that are happening today. She's an expert on that. I see what he's doing as absolute socialism is government ownership of the means of production, which means they can dolate out the goodies to their friends, and that's what they're doing at the present time.
When you look at it, from a guy that says he doesn't want to run the auto industry, we now have GM, Government Motors, Chrysler, taking over the insurance companies. We've now seen the banks, as we've just heard. We also see there's a bill that's passed in the House that now is to make student loans only government operated. And then you look a little further and you see, well, 1/6 of our economy to take over health care. You know, we don't have to look to see what that is. We can look in the past, as we just heard, and we can look to the north in Canada. You know, that healthcare system in Canada, socialized medicine, it works so well for them that when they get sick, they don't call a doctor, they call a travel agent. And so when we start seeing now the takeover, did you hear this, where the president has said now that he wants a bailout for newspapers? I mean, we've been talking about tongue-in-cheek the state-run media. This is the real state-run. This is the real thing, like we see, well, in communist China, in the former Soviet Union. This is where we don't want to go. And so I believe in the American dream. And what's exciting is tonight we're going to hear from Joe the Plumber, who is now a national icon, who was first introduced about, hey, why do you want to punish a successful businessman like me? He says, you know, why do you want to kill the American dream? And it was then when we heard in the campaign the preview of what's to come, when Barack Obama said he wants to spread the wealth. That is socialism. And read the cover of Newsweek if there's any question that says we're all socialists now. That is where this administration is going. That is not where we want it to go. And we're going to find out how to get the free enterprise back, how to get our freedoms back. And in this battle, we're fighting also for our very lives. As the socialized medicine, it not only includes tax-funded abortion, it also includes healthcare rationing, and well, it's essentially euthanasia, pushing the elderly, the disabled off the cliff, much like they're doing to the veterans. You saw the brochure that was being handed out. If you heard about that, where they're having veterans who have just fought for our country, as General Boykin, at least twice award winner of the Purple Heart, they're coming back without limbs, and they're hitting them when they're most vulnerable, saying, are you an emotional burden to your family? Do you think that you might be a financial drain? That's the kind of treatment that we can expect. As they treat our veterans now, that's how we can expect to be treated should this come into play. And that's why we need to stand up now. And the time is, as Phyllis just said, I believe this is the most important conference, given the threats that we face right now to every freedom that we have. There's never been a more important conference that I've ever been a part of.
Could I just ask a bit about the Republican politicians who are here? Because I think both of you have been critical of Republicans when they haven't behaved well, and when they haven't been true to conservative principles. How did you select Congressman Bachmann, Congressman King, Congressman Price, Governor Huckabee as Republican politicians who can inform people how to take back America as opposed to part of the
Well, I
problem?
picked the ones I thought best represented the conservative point of view. Congressman Price is an MD and competent on the health care issue, which is the big current issue. Congressman King had a real job before he went to Congress, so that's in his approach. Congressman McClintock is known as the best conservative in California. I think that Michelle Bachmann is a real star. I think maybe she's the best one in Congress today. And Janet can tell you about how much she likes Mike Huckabee.
I like Mike, and the thing about him is that he's able to, and you've seen him now in his Fox program, where he's actually, it's like one of the only programs you can watch and feel like you're not being assaulted. It's just refreshing that he takes on anybody and any opinion, and he just responds with the position of truth that hey, government run anything is not a good idea. And we heard that from Barack Obama himself when he said, hey, FedEx and the post office, let's compare the two. Well, that's an argument. That's an argument against. That's an argument for the private sector, not for the government.
Well, anybody who says it's going to be cheaper if the government runs it must believe in the tooth fairy. Anybody else have other questions? Anybody else you want to introduce?
Yeah, there's